a living. We've been kind of absent from YouTube for the past week and a half or 2 weeks due to finalizing our move north and just a bunch of different things going on. We probably have enough footage though to make about 6 different videos, but we had to start somewhere, and this seemed to be the place to start. With just a little footage about how we're harvesting some fresh grass for our animals right now, where we create pens for them and some housing for our rabbits. We're going to be raising them in colonies. If you haven't heard about colonies, I recommend that you go to Google it. It's really a neat concept. We've only learned about it just a few months ago. We started reading a book called Beyond the Pellet and Feeding Rabbits Naturally by Boyd Craven Jr. and Rick Warden. There's 2 other books by, I don't know if it's one of the authors or both of the authors, but they talk about colony rabbit raising in those books. And I'm not sure the author himself does it, but he did bring some very interesting facts to life. And if you Google it, you'll find a lot of information out on colony raising of rabbits. And they talk about feeding the rabbits naturally, which is what we're trying to do. We stop and we're looking at nature for our animals to see how nature, an animal would eat in the wild. And I realize, please put a disclaimer up here, I'm going to put it right now. We understand that our animals are domesticated, okay? They're not going to live the way that a wild animal is going to live. However, in an environment where they are overseen by a shepherd and taken steps to make sure and monitoring their health, that actually the animal probably prefers to eat more like its wild relative than it does how we as people have deemed them to eat, with the grains that are very hard on their systems. They were never meant to eat grains, and we do this for production, and we do this for speed and growth, and that's not how the animal was ever intended to be raised. More isn't always better. And so at any rate, we're learning here, and we're just documenting what we're doing. We are keeping very close eye on our animals because this is new to us. We've always fed our animals grains, and the reality is grains didn't come into effect until the late 1800s, and they didn't come in until 1927 when Purina opened its first pellet mill. Nobody really knew what a pellet was, and it was from that point on, and after World War II, that they became really popular. And that's just what most of us today know how to take care of our animals. But if you go to everybody's heard of the raw food diet for the dogs, or feeding dogs, from the table scraps and stuff. I mean, that's the way it was before the manufacturing and the production of a product. And so we're really trying just to get away from that as much as possible, so we have more control over what our animals eat. We don't eat GMOs, and so we feed them GMO-free food or organic. But there's still, even in that, there's a lot of stuff in there that we don't want them to have, like a lot of corn and a lot of soy, and we just prefer to stay away from that stuff. So we are being very diligent and focused on how we're going to do this, and we have some ideas about how we're going to get through the winter. Now, we will get hay if we have to, so please don't be, for those of you that might be overly concerned when you hear us talking in there about tree hay, that if we have to get the traditional hay, we will. But I think there's a lot to be learned from our ancestors and how they tended to their animals, and why do the animals not only survive but they thrived. And I think we've kind of missed the mark on where we're going with taking care of the animals, what's best for them. It's not just a matter of them providing for us, but it's a matter of giving them as much health as we can in a natural environment. So we didn't have too many opportunities down south. We only had an acre, and we had to buy all our stuff, and we had really bad soil, but that's another story. But we had, we were limited on where they could go, the amount of room they had, and it was just not an ideal situation. But up here, it's a lot different. We want to really explore into this, and we just want to share with y'all what we learn. And if you can learn something from it, great. Or if you guys have any suggestions, or if you're familiar with raising rabbits in colonies, or ranging your goats during the season where things are growing, we'd love to hear from you. Suggestions, tips. We're looking into natural fencing and just ways that we can make their life optimal and feel good, feel good about raising them, and knowing that, we've done the best for them as they give their best for us. So we hope you enjoy this video, and thank you, and God bless. Josiah is cutting down some fresh grass for some of the animals. We don't have the rabbits set up in colonies yet, or the rabbit garden going on, and we're working on the ponies' pen right now for grazing, as well as the goats. So until we get that done, he's got to do it by hand. So after he cuts it with the scythe, he rakes it up and then delivers it to the critters. There's just tons of these logging roads that this grass is growing up beautifully on, and it'd be just a shame to waste it where it's fresh foliage. Next best thing to fresh grazing for the animals. RJ and him have been doing it twice a day for morning and evening feedings, and they've also been gathering maple sprigs because the rabbits and the goats really love those. So what do you think about having to cut down hay for the animals? Compared to simply going and grabbing hay off of a square bale or a round bale, what we're used to?
Well, grabbing hay off a bale is a lot easier, but I like this way a lot more.
Why is that?
We're getting it ourselves. We're feeding our own animals. Connects us more to what we're doing. Connects us more to living how we're supposed to.
Now, when you say how we're supposed to live, what does that refer to? Are you talking from a biblical perspective? Are you talking from just being connected with the food we eat?
Or using what we have. We're... Okay, thank you. To me, it seems more natural.
Have you been gauging the health of the animals? What is your take on that so far?
They seem happier, more active, have more energy. I would have to say they're getting more nutrition from this.
And you're basing that on?
Alfalfa is just one thing. They're getting a variety. They're getting leaves, they're getting grass, they're getting different types of grass.
The rabbits are?
Yes.
Oh. So in the winter, what's your plan for them in the winter?
Oh, we will have to harvest hay and dry it, as well as tree hay, the cutting of the small branches and drying of the leaves.
And where did you learn about that at, originally?
Well, I think that would be on Tudor Monastery Farm. Pollarding was the centuries-old way of storing feed for animals in the winter. They would cut the limbs off of trees so high up, and save that for winter, and have a yearly crop.
And then that was referred to as tree hay?
Yep, pollarding was the...
Pollarding. Oh. Physically, what is it like for you to do it by hand? I mean, you're not out there in the field, or you're not even out here with a small cutter that doesn't mulch. You're doing it by hand.
It's hard because our ground is not level by any means.
And that's because of the lumber
Correct.
Machinery that came through.
Mm-hmm. And our cutter is not meant for harvesting hay. More chops it up than cuts it down, but it's work. but I don't find it, say, physically draining. I'm not out here long periods of time doing it, but I'm used to work, so.
Anything else you want to say?
We love it here!
Please don't forget to follow us on Facebook. I will put that link below. Also, if you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe to our channel. Please share these videos as often as you would like. We would love for you to do that and get the word out, so maybe we can encourage others and build a good community here that can encourage one another. Thanks, and God bless.